Mr. Swanson, thanks for coming on to the programme this evening. Now, do you think that these trials could actually work in favour of the anti-drone movement? Because it does give them a platform, doesn't it, to send out their message?
Well, it's thus far a very limited platform, unfortunately. We have had people serving 6-month prison sentences. We've had people facing horrendous charges for exercising their First Amendment rights. This is an ongoing activity across the country, and it's noticed in the local media, but there's a virtual blackout in the national media in the United States. You would have no idea this was happening. There's an extensive protest resistance movement against these drone murders, and unfortunately most Americans don't even know it's happening, don't even know what the drones are being used for, much less that they're being protested. You know, this past weekend up in Syracuse, New York, you had people making the most eloquent statements upholding the rule of law to a judge in a court, and you had the rest of the city at the Syracuse University basketball game or going home to watch the Super Bowl. So there is a platform, but it needs to grow.
And what are the actual legal grounds for charging these protesters? Because they say they were demonstrating peacefully.
Well, they have been demonstrating peacefully, but it's a question of where exactly they were standing and how many of them and whether they were asked to leave 3 times. The commander of the military base, a Hancock Air Base outside of Syracuse, New York, has a restraining order against a group of people committed to nonviolence who have engaged in nothing but nonviolent demonstrations on a street against illegal war making. He has a restraining order to protect himself from them, and they are charged with trespassing, and they can potentially be charged quite seriously for violating that order. It's a infringement on First Amendment rights. It's an outrage, but these people are quite courageous and quite committed and are not about to stop.
You mentioned they are very committed. We can all see that. But exactly why are they against these drone strikes? Why is this any worse than any other military action?
Well, it's not, but it's the same as any other military action, and it's less known. We don't have, we had a big discussion in Congress just recently over whether to impose new sanctions on Iran and blow up the negotiated deal with Iran. Back in September, we had a big discussion whether to send missiles into Syria. When these missiles go and kill innocent men, women, children, infants in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Yemen, Somalia, there's no discussion. There's no debate. It just happens under the radar, and there's a little blurb the next day saying militants were targeted. Nobody knows what that means, who they were, and good reporting has shown that many, many innocent people who had done absolutely nothing wrong have been killed by these drones, which are counterproductive in their own terms. They are making the United States more hated. A couple of weeks ago, the United States overwhelmingly won a survey in 65 countries as the nation that is the greatest threat to peace on earth. So there's the moral question, there's the strategic question, there's the financial question. These are struggling towns in upstate New York and California and elsewhere, and all of this money is going into a program of killing.
And we're seeing protests in America. We know there have been protests around the world. Do you think there's any chance that the American government will scale back its use of drones?
Well, of course, there's a chance, or we wouldn't be doing this. Just as there was a chance to stop that sanctions bill on Iran and stop those missiles going into Syria, the military machinery is not invincible. Things can be changed, and the tide is turning. People are beginning to learn, even in the United States, what is being done in their name with their money. And other nations like Germany and Brazil and Venezuela are pushing back against the very idea of weaponized drones, which of course go against the very idea of the United Nations or the Kellogg-Briand Pact or any of the treaties that these protesters are citing so beautifully in their testimony in court.
OK, we do have to leave it there, but thanks very much, Mr. Swanson, for giving us your thoughts. That's David Swanson live from Virginia. Thank you.